Ron Miller was running the studio, then he had a career as like a USC football player. My joke was that Ron Miller wanted it to be called Touchdown Pictures, but he was misunderstood, and so it came as Touchdown. I thought it was neat that whatever the movie was going to do was going to be the very first film underneath this new kind of banner, which has since gone off to be, incredibly successful and profitable. Everybody who was an A-list movie star at the time was offered Splash at Disney, directed by Ronnie Howard, which, that would have all the impact as, say, guess what? They're making a movie called The Boatniks at Disney. My series had been canceled, and I just kind of got this call to say, would you like to do this thing and on Happy Days? And I needed the work, so I wasn't doing anything. I went to Disney, and this was old Disney, the Disney Studios, in which the whole, it's a very kind of grim place. It was kind of empty and abandoned. I went on a rainy day, and it was truly a downpour. It was a deluge. It was going on, and I was sort of ran inside some side door of some low-slung bungalow that hadn't been painted for a while, walked down some dark, abandoned hallways, and came upon Brian Grazer's office. Right off the bat, I felt comfortable, number one, because the production office was so tacky, and number two, Brian seemed like a regular guy as opposed to some imposing, Hollywood stereotypical producer. Ron came in after a while, and it was a bit intimidating because I had never met Ron. So here suddenly is, Opie Cunningham, and chatted with him a little bit, and that was it. I wasn't there, I don't think, for more than 40 minutes or so, and was told that I needed to prepare the audition piece. I'm glad everybody said no. So they got me with all the enthusiasm in the world. I had been watching John in the way that fanatics watch TV shows for about 2.5 years on Second City. This movie would not have worked had it not been for Daryl. I mean, Daryl's ethereal quality. I mean, she's a woman of mystery, absolutely. The first read-through we had for it, in which John Candy was there, I mean, everybody was there, Eugene Levy, who I was such a fan of from the SCTV days.
I just remember too.
And I was just a guy on a TV show. I really felt as though here at this read-through around the table, I was going to have to score, just like I had to score when I was doing Bosom Buddies. I had to make jokes sell. I had to get laughs. I had to have a lot of energy. I had to be really pumped up. And for me, anyway, the read-through was a disaster because nothing I did worked. And then it sort of developed a flop sweat and tried to push it even harder. And I actually, as I thought often in the course of making the movie, I thought, okay, well, that's it. I've just blown the job. I'm going to get fired.
I remember.
But Ron, literally, that day, literally, he took me aside and he said, listen, I know what you're doing. I know that you're pushing really hard. I know you think that there's some way you can score with laughs or moments in this thing, and you're not going to be able to do it. John Candy's here, Eugene Levy, they're going to get a lot of good laughs. What you have to do is love the girl. You have to love the girl. And if we don't believe that you love the girl, then we don't have a movie. So, okay, I'm thinking, okay, here's my first official day working on this film, and I've already been chastised by the director for not doing a good job.
Mermaid.
John had to fly in from Canada. It was right after a very tragic air disaster occurred for Air Canada. So he had to fly on Air Canada in that morning, go right from the airport to the set and shoot the film. Now, John didn't like to fly anyway, so let's just say he had a few cocktails on the plane. So John came to work that morning, just kind of smacked. It was so funny that everybody was laughing so hard at just watching him just try to get through the course of this day that sooner or later everybody ruined a take by laughing. Eugene would ruin a take, I would ruin a take, John would ruin a take, Ron would start laughing.
I think my way.
There's one time, literally, the boom operator, he couldn't take it.
All you could see.
I got to learn how to scuba dive for free. Well, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I would have done this on vacation, and here they're going to pay me to go off and do this. And when we were in the 3 weeks of shooting in the Bahamas, I'd leave the hotel room in nothing more than a T-shirt and a bathing suit. And that it was actually quote-unquote work for me. I thought, well, hey, man, if all jobs are like this in movies, sign me up. I'm ready to do it.
And that means that he'll show you what he wants you to do.
And then, of course, there's the actual universal sign language, which is give me my air.
For me, it wasn't so bad because at least, I could swim. I could drop the iron weights out of my pants and swim somewhere. But Daryl was in that tail. She couldn't get anywhere. They could only take her out of the water on this kind of like chaise lounge that they tied ropes to that they'd hold on, and she'd climb on and they'd lift her out. I mean, I got to essentially, sit in the sun and have a sandwich for lunch, and she had to lay down in her legs, wrapped up in shrink wrap.
It means everything.
In lesser hands, a movie about a mermaid is just a kooky kind of fake movie, and in a weird way, Splash is not a fake movie.
Idea.
It has a realism to it that you fall into. You believe everything that you're seeing.
Nice.
The odds are always against you making a good movie. And the odds are really against you about having a good time making a movie. Like a great vacation you had, you'd like to pull out the pictures every now and again and remember how pleasant it was, and remember how young everybody was, and how the goodness of the experience is still alive somehow. Film is forever.